All right. I think I'm on. Yeah. Thumbs up from back there. Okay, I'm Sam Irvin, and this is 8 note, 8 parentheses PM note, the Irvin Music Studio live stream. That's where I'm at right now in my home studio in Asheville, North Carolina. My small company, Irvin Music Studio, offers private lessons in guitar and trumpet. I teach some other stuff like ukulele and drums and synths. And we also do event entertainment. I play solo classical jazz guitar, sometimes with a violinist for string combos. We also offer jazz ensemble stuff. But we also do at Irvin Music Studio some recording and audio engineering and just production projects in general. My creative work falls into that category, and so does this live stream. Been doing it for 38 weeks, or 39, but I missed a week in there somewhere. And feeling pretty good about how it's coming along. I tell every guest that comes on this week, they come a little early and sort of recap the different problems, challenges, and solutions that I've reached with the show. But I think so far we're going strong. I think that I've got volume. So getting a shrug from over there. That's good. Okay, great. And you know what? I'm gonna check and see if I have volume early. Usually I do this once the guest comes on, but I want to make sure. Okay, yeah, I think I'm sounding good. What I also don't have yet, but I think I will for next week, is intro music for myself. We've got waiting music, you know, as I start the stream and then get situated. And we've got guest intro music that my guest today is gonna nail when he walks on. He has to activate it himself because I don't have a MIDI controller or anything in here to get it started. But I don't have my own music for when the show gets started, or like an animation, and there's still no bright neon sign here, you know, so there are still improvements to make, but very thankful for anybody who's watching. Even just parts of this, tune in and out. We'll be chatting about everything musical and music adjacent for an hour, and then we'll be jamming everything musical and music adjacent for an hour after that. Let's see. I like to talk up top a little bit about what I'm doing musically. You know, I teach lessons Monday through Wednesday, although I'm starting Thursdays again next week as gigs start to slow down in the winter months. So I teach Monday through Thursday, and all of my students are practicing a ton, like an hour a day. It's crazy. No, but I am proud of the ones that are. Let's see, I had 3 gigs last weekend, solo guitar and violin guitar duets, and only 2 gigs this upcoming Friday, another guitar violin duet at a wedding, and then I'm playing the Biltmore solo guitar, a mix of classical and some jazz. I'll probably bring my loop pedal and solo over myself, and I'll sing a little bit. I got to work on my album for the first time in a while on Sunday, and that felt great. I'm laying down lyrics over the music that I've already arranged. So trying to come up with vocal melodies that fit into other musical parts, often other melodies, which become counter melodies once I start singing over them. That's sort of my musical world right now. I'm doing this live stream for 3 reasons, you know, to advertise my studio and my company a little bit, and to utilize my studio and practice my sound engineering chops. You know, broadcasting all of this stuff is a challenge, but I also don't get a whole lot of time to play around on my synths and get my whole studio working. You know, I think tonight's going to be a really fun jam in that way. Especially because of the guests who I have on. That's really the third reason, you know, to build some community, catch up with old friends like Ross or Douglas who have got on tonight, and to get to know newer acquaintances better, you know, just to know the Asheville music scene, you know. Rosser Douglas, we met at Moog. He was an engineer there for years.
That much.
At least that much?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Like, which means months, too. He was there for weeks and hours. Yeah. Days? We'll find out when he comes on right now. Why don't you come on down?
I feel very tired.
I'm glad you could make it all the
Boy,
way
are my
over here.
legs tired.
Yeah, thanks for walking in.
I have a couple questions based on what you were saying at the top.
Please.
Is it okay if I start by interviewing you first?
Yeah, that's a breath of fresh air.
First one's about the gigs.
Yeah,
When you're playing, I guess it's probably a lot of weddings and things like that, right?
that's right.
Do you have do you offer here's what I am capable of, here's our repertoire, and then are they able to suggest things and request certain songs to be played?
Yeah, that's a good question, and a bunch, you know, different musicians do it differently. I've worked on a system that feels fair to me, you know, and in a way that allows me to balance my workload.
Mm-hmm.
Not all performers are teaching lessons or, you know, or trying to do production stuff on the side too. So what I offer is a basic package where they, you know, let's say weddings. Usually for corporate events, they're not choosing particular songs.
Just, play stuff
for the CEO to walk on.
Yeah. Some classical pieces, play this etude.
Yeah. Need that Carcassi to really empower the CEO at this very moment. But for weddings, I have a basic package where they just choose the 3 main songs for the bridal party and the bride walking on and the recessional from my list, or an upgraded package where they can choose a bunch of songs from my list and 3 off the list requests that we arrange.
Cool. And you just need a week. You just need some time to learn whatever the songs are.
Yeah, I ask my clients to get that to me 2 months ahead of time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just to sort of figure it into my practice routine. And,
will you limit what they can request, or if someone's I want a Cardi B song or something
You know, we've only had to say no once, although nobody's asked for Cardi B. I'm not sure how I would play that on guitar. Usually, though, I like it's much more difficult to arrange any of these songs for solo guitar than it is guitar violin duet.
Oh yeah.
Which is sort of counterintuitive, I think, to clients or the public in general, because one instrument seems like it might be easier.
Right, but you're doing a whole chord melody because you have to compose them all the chords in their inversions and the melody at the same time.
Right.
It's a lot to practice. So 2 months makes sense.
2 months for that, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, if I got Cardi B 1 week, I'd put that on the violinist and cross my fingers.
Just hope that they take care of it.
Yeah.
My second question.
Okay.
No,
shoot.
unless you have an offshoot from that.
I was just going to say I trust the violinist that I play a whole lot.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
So if they were given the task of Cardi B, you would trust that they could pull through.
I believe it would be a Cardi A+.
Great.
So what's
a C A+. The second question had to do with when you were talking about the album that you're working on, which is cool. I didn't know you were doing that.
Yeah, I'll show you after the...
Yeah, I would love to hear it. And you were talking about composing lyrics to put over the tracks. Do you find, because lyrics, I find I've always worked in instrumental music, or largely worked in instrumental music when it wasn't a cover band. I don't know how to write lyrics I'm not ashamed of. So do you have rhythmic patterns that you then fit words into, or does the melody come first? Do the lyrics come first that you then compose a melody around? What is the process that you find yourself using?
Yeah, so I think this is the last album that I'll ever write this way.
Okay. First and last? Have you done this before?
Oh, first and last, okay. Yeah. So this album is the one that I think a lot of musicians have given the advice to me, or I've heard the advice to not, to let go of a lot of like old pieces of music and not try to flesh stuff out and just write new music, or
like not expand on a previous idea that you had.
Yeah, like not
like,
try to make
go
the
fresh.
perfect thing, but rather when you're trying to start writing to, keep it really simple and write something dumb that you don't care about a whole lot. But I I do care about this project a lot. And so it's just little pieces of music that I've written throughout my life, and I've spent a very long time picking them out by ear. Oftentimes I had written them on Fruity Loops or some piano roll or something, and had to put them all to sheet music and then organize those into like musical concepts that make sense, even though they still are sort of there are a lot of left turns, as it cycles through. I'm just sort of patching it together like a pastiche of myself, and the lyrics are the same way, just all the poetry that I've written throughout my life.
Cool.
I've kept in little books.
Oh, I didn't know you wrote poetry. That's cool.
Yeah, I may share some of that with you.
Oh, yeah, You can only share what will make it to the album eventually.
I'll
push
you
your
can get some
comfort level.
behind the scenes
Yeah, I
stuff.
don't want to.
They you don't want to put, you can push my
Okay.
boundaries a little bit.
Great.
Closer. During this interview.
It's still early, and I won't push boundaries yet.
Okay, let's be polite for a few minutes. Wait, but let me interrupt and make sure that we are being audible. Okay.
Sounds like it.
It was crystal clear, right?
I could hear you very clearly.
Okay, good.
Don't know how I sounded.
Let's see. I think let's check it out. Make sure that we are. Oh, this is just me talking.
Did not choose the right time.
Yeah, it was crystal clear, right?
I could hear you very clearly. Okay, cool.
Okay, it sounds pretty good to me.
I am plenty
Do
audible.
you approve?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. So, to actually answer your question, all of that was sort of build up. The lyrics that I'm coming up with do feel stupid about every other time I look at them. I
Yeah.
think that you just have to sort of stand behind
Yeah.
these choices, and have faith in the part of yourself that felt good about them at some point, But I also find that, I spent so much time distilling the poetry, or, putting those into like conceptual, containers, that makes sense.
The poems themselves.
Yeah. So I put all of those on a massive Google Doc, and then I have 15 Google Docs that I split them into based on like a sort of philosophical cycle that I'm trying to make the album, that I'm trying to inhabit the album with. Cool. And I do find that I just choose cool sounding words. Like it's not really surviving the poetry.
Sure.
Because I'm coming in and I sort of sing a vocal melody, and then I know like, oh, that has 6 syllables.
Right.
What line here has 6 syllables,
Uh-huh.
and trying to make it rhyme and stuff.
So you're not rigidly taking a fully formed poem and like making its syllable structure line up with your melodies and stuff like that. You're kind of mix and matching things like that.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
that
right.
makes a lot of sense. Oh, cool.
And hopefully somewhere I've saved all the poetry. I hope I'm not destroying
Google
it as I
Doc,
go.
right?
Yeah, that original Google Doc.
Yeah.
Hopefully I duplicated
in
it.
perpetuity.
Yes.
Google will have it forever.
So, do you have any more questions for me?
No, those were the 2 I came prepared with.
Okay,
After
good.
hearing the intro.
Right, yeah. How did you feel about my intro?
I thought it was
Is
good.
it coming along?
Yeah, especially considering you were like, I'll say a little something, and then you spoke for like 10 minutes. It was great.
Oh,
Gave
good.
little updates on everything you're doing.
Trying to, list out
Build the
stuff.
audience. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it more concise. It started very concise with just the date and the weather, I think.
Weather. I don't think weather came up.
Oh, that's right. It is November 2nd, and it's sort of rainy. Well,
Yeah.
It's dark outside.
Yeah, it's like a
hard
little
to
chilly.
see.
Yeah, a little sprinkly.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for reminding me of that. We were talking. I advertised you as a Comedy Bang Bang fan,
Uh-huh.
and that's mostly what we're going to talk about.
Great.
This,
Yeah, I think
conversation.
and its adjacency to music.
Yeah.
I guess Reggie Watts.
Right.
There's elements of music. They have musical guests.
That's true. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Reggie Watts comes on every time to sing
Every
it.
single episode,
And
yeah,
then he
just to
leaves
sing that
before
one
saying
little-
anything else.
Exactly. Just like the proper lore lines up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really appreciate Scott Ackerman's intro. It's
Yeah.
very formatted.
It's formatted, but
everything
also
he hit.
still I guess maybe part of the format is that he makes fun of it, because it feels like most episodes he starts and then talks about how bad his intro is, so it feels like that's kind of part of the whole energy of it.
Yeah, I find that to be really endearing.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. It's relatable.
That's right.
Well,
yeah.
that sounded rude. I didn't mean
So
that.
if any ouch.
Yeah, I
Okay,
didn't,
yeah.
that's not how it...
Well, I listen back to these every week, and I did not realize how much I said before. I'm a big
I'd be terrified.
It's
I'm
bad.
terrified of hearing that. Like is the other thing I would imagine that I would hear myself saying.
Oh yeah, just to buy yourself time.
Sure. Yeah.
But
Ums and uhs.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really need? Is it saving time?
I doubt it. I mean, I guess it's buying you time, but I don't know if it's better than just sitting there in silence. Like,
Right.
I guess if you're uncomfortable in silence, which I know a lot of people are, I guess that's the whole origin of that idea, is that you're just filling the space with wordless noise so that there's not an awkward pause. I don't know. Silence doesn't bother me.
I was about to ask. Are you comfortable with silence?
Oh, yeah.
Let's try some. That's nice. You do look comfortable.
I actually didn't like it as much as I thought I would.
Oh, then I'm sorry to put you through
It might
that.
have been the air conditioner, but there was...
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a dehumidifier.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
better for us.
We are in a basement, which I like
Fair
to
enough.
point out as much as
But
possible.
the sound-treated basement.
It is, yeah. This drop ceiling has like special fancy insulation.
Oh, did you have it installed?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. So with the foresight of doing something like this.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with 433, the John Cage piece of music?
Yes, that's right.
Have you ever seen it performed?
I have. My gripe with it,
Sure.
if you're ready.
Yeah, bring it on.
You know, I'm not always critical, but of John Cage.
John, let's bring him out. He's dead. I'm
Wait,
sorry.
you brought. Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's past Halloween, so it's not really on theme
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. What is your gripe with 433?
I feel like nobody ever performs it correctly
Oh,
because it always seems like it's a little bit more
than
than
433.
433. It's like 433 and a half because they sort of, once it's over, they give that like eyebrow to the audience.
Like it's ended now.
Right, and in that split, in that little moment, they've sort of
That's fascinating.
yeah.
I never really considered it as like a thing that needs to be accurate to the second, but I guess if the period of time with which the piece exists is generally the concept of the piece, then maybe it should be as accurate as possible. I do know the one time that I've seen it performed, when it was performed by one of his students, she came out and sat at the piano and then shut the cover, and it felt like that was like the ceremonial beginning of the piece.
And did you time it? Were you like
I didn't at all.
on it?
I didn't at all. What would be really fun, I think, would be for the piece to begin, and then for you to like raise your hand when you think 433 has passed. Because I bet it would be a lot of people like 2 minutes in would be like, this has surely been 5 minutes, because it would just be such a... I would imagine it's a collective, silent, awkward feeling of everyone living in the same silent pause. It's kind of what I felt like, as it felt like everyone was afraid to move in their chair, when the fact that people move in their chair and grunt and make sounds are like part of the piece, and that's why it'll never be performed twice or in a row, is that those unique grunts and movements would be that performance. But it seemed like everyone was like paralyzed with fear to do anything without the realization of like, well, you are the piece, so go ahead and go nuts.
Yeah, right. It's very Heraclitean in that way.
I don't know what that is.
Isn't Heraclitus the philosopher that like everything's in flux
Oh, okay.
all the time?
Perhaps so. I don't know much about
think so.
philosophy,
Oh, okay.
unfortunately.
Gotcha. So you're sort of Socratean.
Yes. I was gonna say I know Socrates
Uh-huh.
and Plato, but I'm not much of it.
You don't know, though.
I don't know. No.
That's right.
Oh, right.
Socrates and something.
See, if you use philosophy jokes on someone who says they don't know philosophy, it feels...
That's true. Let's get off this.
Yeah. I got
Let's
painted into a corner.
Get this.
Full off topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, let's get off of that joke too.
Fair. Yeah.
So you went to UNCA as
I
well.
did.
I don't want to age you by asking you when you graduated, but were we there at the same time?
I don't know. I was going to ask you. I think maybe you were there after me. I graduated in 2009.
And are you okay? Are your hips okay?
Yeah, my hips feel
Hanging
great.
in there, man?
Yeah.
That's good.
I feel as spry as ever.
Okay, good. Did you bring
My
your reading
AARP
glasses?
card is on the way.
I graduated in 2009 as well,
Oh.
high school.
Oh.
And then I went
Yikes.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Really grilling you.
Yeah.
Um,
Really pulled the rug out from under me on that one.
no, that's good. You're so much more wise. It's gonna be clear in our.
Yeah, those 4 years really separate.
Yeah.
Yes, I graduated in 2009. And I don't have something to follow that up with.
Okay, cool.
I graduated in 2009.
With a musical degree.
Yes, music tech. Bachelor of Science in Music Tech.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so not the performance side of the music degree, but the technical side of the music degree. Did you
Right.
Did you get a Bachelor of Arts?
I did with a jazz studies and philosophy double.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Mhm.
Who was your jazz guitar teacher? Was it Barnes?
It was Mark Yaxley.
Mark Yaxley, who I also worked with a little bit.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah. What a unique character.
Oh, he's great. Yeah, he's one of a kind.
Yeah.
I like a lot of my big college group was all Brevard people, and I think he's from that area. And they were like, he was the music teacher in Brevard. And he's like, and now he's teaching at UNCA, teaching people. Great, incredible player.
Yeah, I'm from Brevard.
Oh,
And so I
Didn't know
took
that.
guitar lessons from him before UNCA, and then was not accepted into UNCA, but he got me an audition through the music department, which was very nice of him. So I owe Mark Yaxley a lot.
yeah,
He's a cool dude.
yeah, he's a good guy.
And I've had a couple of his other students on, like Andrew Thelston
Oh, okay.
and Dan Keller.
Okay.
Do you know either of those guys?
No, I don't at all.
Cool.
Because I was so like, I came into that whole situation as much more of a technical person than a musical person because, like, throughout high school, I had taught myself everything that I knew how to play on guitar. So going into that level of academia was kind of overwhelming for me because I was like asked to write chord melodies and have sheet music prepared, and I was kind of like, I learned how to tabs, like, you know, I don't know what any of the notes I'm playing, which was kind of like a jarring thing to enter. But that's what I really liked about the music tech program is that they ask you to take all of those theory programs and things, but you don't have to carry out the applied music stuff and performance stuff as far. Where they're just like, show competence with an instrument, but also we're going to gear this more heavily towards science, which was, I thought, a really nice, because I got 4 semesters of theory and oral skills and feel like I got a nice like foundation of musical education, but it wasn't far deep into like ensemble performance, and it was like, show proficiency but don't feel like you're drowning, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And
If you're a technical person.
And it's a liberal arts school, so we had to do, a
sure.
pretty wide variety.
Yeah,
I'm
psychology.
very
various-
thankful for that.
Yeah, I did like that aspect of it, and it was like, I remember it being kind of clunky in terms of like figuring out clusters and just strange in terms of how you picked what courses. But then again, like, I'm pretty sure that because of those clusters and weird kind of liberal arts things that they asked you to do outside of your focus is how I discovered the music tech program in general, because I took physics of sound and music, which, did you take that course?
I did with
Dr. Ruiz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable teacher, unbelievable course.
Yeah.
And I was like lucky enough to have taken that my first semester. And my first semester of college happened to be like months after Dr. Moog passed away.
Oh, yeah.
And so when Ruiz had that class, he moved up, because synthesizers are a big part of the class, because he talks a lot about music, electronics and waves and waveforms, and which is obviously a big part of synthesis. And he moved all the synthesis stuff to the beginning of the class because he was like, well, this just happened, because I believe Bob passed away in August, and then schools shortly thereafter. And so he moved it all up to the front, and then I didn't know what Moog was, and he was like, yeah, these people are down the street, and Bob taught here, and that class is the reason I went into the music tech program.
Okay, what were you going to do before that?
I didn't know. Like, I just knew that it was a school that I liked. I liked Asheville. It was the size I wanted. It was
Where are you
small.
from?
Well, like Charlotte-ish. At this point, I've lived in Asheville longer than I've lived anywhere else. But like my family, I was born in Virginia, and then my family moved to Charlotte when I was in like 4th grade. So kind of Charlotte, kind of Virginia. But I picked the school because I wanted to be in the UNC system. I liked Asheville. So, and I came up and did a tour of the campus. It seemed nice. I didn't put a lot of pressure on my decisions.
Cool.
At those times.
What highway did you come in on when you were?
Like when I first ever visited.
Yeah. No, let's go back from Virginia, where you lived, down to Charlotte.
Yeah, I think it's 85. 95.
Yeah, that's really
pretty simple.
Yeah.
And then 40
straight ahead.
What highway did I come when I came into Asheville?
Yeah.
Like through the cut. We're like on 240.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just
How was the traffic
that day.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Whenever I was coming to the audition on that fateful day that I was just fateful day.
Yeah.
Thanks. I forgot my guitar at home. We had to turn around.
The one.
One college
The one
audition
thing
that I had.
Also, they didn't have a guitar. I guess it's your guitar. You should play your guitar.
I think that was part of it. And we were only like 30 minutes down the road.
Yeah, I guess if it's Brevard. Oh, you had made it pretty far. Yeah.
We had, yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's
Zoom in on that detail.
funny. I also ran over that guitar at one point. I played guitar in the marching band, and I was done like very late at
Was
night.
this before
one
the
time.
audition?
It was. That's a good question. I'm not sure, but it was the same
You
guitar.
auditioned with a repaired guitar or with
It's
a
actually the
soon-to-be-
guitar you're gonna play tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
cool.
been run over
Wow. What
and
part
forgotten. But
of it? Like just the guitar. It's not
it
in a
was
case.
in a case.
Just, oh, okay.
No. Yeah.
Whoa. It was just left in the driveway and you just like backed over it or something?
Yeah, at the high school. So somewhere there's a video of me.
Oh, there's a video of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I haven't
like
seen it.
security cam or something?
Right, yeah.
Okay. You haven't accessed the high school
Flying out of my
footage.
car. Like, why? Yeah, so I'm not sure what the physics of that is.
I don't, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe speed. Maybe I was ready to get out of there and it was just so fast that I glided over it.
That's probably what it was.
So Ruiz did it for you. I had those classes much later. Did you do visual?
I did not
Phenomena?
light and visual.
Yeah.
No, I did not do that. Which I've heard was also great. Which I should have done just because I liked him and his teaching style so much. But
Yeah, I liked it. A lot of like there was a lot of stuff to do on the computer that you were working through yourself.
he had that whole his textbook was online. He was very ahead of the game. Now that we've shown that I've been out of college for decades.
I know every kid, like all of my students, have like their own computers that they
Right.
rent from the school, which is nuts.
Which
No more
felt like that
textbooks.
felt novel in college, was that like we all have our own laptops. But that's what I will credit Ruiz with, is that he had an online book, because he was very like, colleges, they gouge you with the prices of books, and I'm going to make an online book in 2005.
Right.
And he's like, and it's just, here's a website that I made that has all of his quizzes and everything like that. And it was just like, I think it was stuff like that was so above and beyond what any other professor was doing that made me so engaged. And then also, I think when someone is that interested in the topic that they're teaching, it's hard not to pick up on that. It's so infectious that it's just kind of like, I want to be that excited about sound waves. I want to understand this.
That's the word for it. Yeah. I remember my physics of sound and music class being very enthusiastic, but then I took a second class with him, and for some reason, just the combination of students in that class, nobody was excited about anything.
For the light and visual thing?
Yeah.
Huh.
And it was like the same sort of cool stuff when you
Sure,
do a
and
lecture and you'd come up and like there'd be a slinky.
And did
you'd-
lots of really he's like a magician, a phenomenal piano player.
Yeah.
His son's a phenomenal piano player. Like, I remember he would play a lot of footage of his kids playing insane classical music on piano.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it was cool stuff.
And it was like the one, I mean, this is pretty inside baseball UNCA stuff, but it was the one room in UNCA that was like theater seating.
Yes.
Because like every class I had at UNCA, especially the music department, was like max 12 kids in each class, and then it would like that theater class where physics, sound, music felt so different because it was like actual theater seating. It felt like hundreds of kids. And did he do the thing in your classes where he remembered everyone's name based on their one card photo?
Yes,
And
that's
then like
wild.
the second class of the semester, he went through everybody's name, which is like an unbelievable thing to do.
Right. So what is his life like?
Yeah, his brain, he has an incredible capacity for memory, I guess. I don't.
Yeah, I can barely get through an intro of a live stream.
You didn't even remember the weather.
I know. How do you forget the weather?
Yeah, it's
like all
the
around
most
us.
important. Yeah, it's all. It's not in here.
That's true. We're protected from the weather.
It's
We have
just
shelter.
out there, though.
Yeah. Did have you taken care of all your other needs? Your basic needs? Are you ready to jam later?
Oh, today
Did
in
you
general.
eat and sleep?
Yeah, I ate some leftover pasta right before I came over. I slept last night.
Okay, that's solid.
I think that's everything I needed to do. I had coffee this morning.
I need that coffee too.
I had a little tea
Wake up.
pick me up in the afternoon.
Oh yeah, I did a digestive tea after lunch, so I felt
Yeah.
less bloated.
Oh, that's nice. No, I'm just heavily bloated. Yeah,
You went with a
I feel horrible.
butt up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm very caffeinated, but heavily bloated. So I'm just kind of neutral,
Okay, good.
kind of whelmed.
Good. I'm glad. What other questions should I ask you?
That's a good question. You know, you mentioned you asked about Moog. I worked at Moog for a long time. We met at Moog.
We did.
We.
Do you remember the first time you met me?
I don't think so.
I don't remember.
Oh, good. I thought you were really holding that, like, oh, because I remember precisely.
You really embarrassed yourself.
Yeah. I don't think I remember specifically the first time. I'm sorry. But
But
I worked there for 13 years, so I don't really remember virtually anybody's.
13 years is a
13
long
years.
time, so it was some years.
It was some years.
I was correct earlier.
Well, I was like, well, it felt like way too much clarification to add while I was across the room and not in front of a microphone.
I was actually expecting you to hold up some fingers, but that would have been confusing to me.
Exactly, because it would have been like, I would have had plus. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I would have been like, what? I'm not.
Yeah, that's
demonic.
Yeah, exactly. You say no. Yeah, I worked there for 13 years, and I was all over the place. So I don't know. When you said be an engineer there, I was never an engineer in the sense of doing design work. I don't have like an electrical engineering background or anything. I started in production and then worked in service for a long time and did all the repairs and customer support and tech support.
Oh, that's right. That's where you were when I started.
Yeah, okay.
I'd forgotten that.
That's
yeah.
probably how we met. Is probably there was some problem on the line, and I don't know, helped.
Yeah, it's
Whatever.
like, how do you do this?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I answered a lot of questions. I was in service for a long time and loved that and did a bunch of repairs and email support and all that kind of stuff. And then I went into engineering to do tech work for a while, where I would like build the prototypes and do circuit board level modifications, and write documentation that would teach people on the line how to calibrate and all that kind of stuff. And then I worked in the modular for a while, doing all those big giant legacy modular systems. Which that's now we've reached where we overlap, because I did all that modular stuff, and then I went back to engineering for another like long bout of probably 4 or 5 years of doing similar technician stuff, but I had taken over more of like I was writing all of the calibration instructions, all the calibration documentation, basically for like people on the line. That was, here's how you make this thing sound like this thing, and verify that it definitely sounds like that thing.
Yeah.
So I was doing a lot of that, and then
Quality
I left.
control is a big part of it.
Big part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
And like just knowing how, because I think one of the things that the engineers are so outrageously intelligent that it seems like they would have a hard time kind of just like breaking some of those things into digestible components, and so that being able to like understand the bottom 1% of what that is and then translate it into like regular human speech rather than just kind of like hand scribbled notes was kind of like the position to get wiggled into. But I left there in February after 13 years.
Right.
Yeah.
That's got to feel like a big life change.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was an enormous life change. And it was, I mean, it probably, in hindsight, as enormous of a life change as when I started there. Because when I started there, the same exact month I started dating my now wife and mother of my child, Meredith. And so like that same month I started working at Moog and then dating my now wife. Big month. And then like 3 months later got my dog And so it's like I have very like I know that might sound it's like it's just big stuff
there.
big things have, and it's like, and now like that job and that woman and that dog have been my life for the 13 years.
Yep, longer than college.
Right. Yeah, longer than anything. Longer than I lived in Charlotte. Yeah, longer than any. Literally, I mean, 13 years. It's as long as I've done it. It's almost longer than I played guitar. Yeah, whatever. Not quite, but it was just an enormous thing to remove from my life after having given 13 years to it. But also, it coming with the partnership of having a daughter was a big part of like, well, if I'm gonna change my life, I might as well like change everything. let's make it the biggest possible change. So having the baby was kind of the catalyst that made me decide that it was ready to
How old's your daughter?
do different things. 10 months.
Okay.
10 months today? Is today the 3rd?
Happy birthday!
Is today the 3rd?
It's the 2nd. Dang. We gotta stay until
Tomorrow.
midnight.
Yeah. So tomorrow will be
Wake her up.
her birthday, her 10-month birthday. Yeah, so she is 10
cute.
months old. She's the best thing.
I'm sure. And you slept last night?
Yeah,
That's great.
I'm hesitant to even put it on virtual wax, but yeah, she's a really we're lucky. She's a pretty good sleeper.
Oh yeah, virtual.
Well, just like people say, I want to put it on wax. I don't want to record it. I shouldn't be explaining this reference.
No, don't let me make you uncomfortable by saying anything about because you're not on social media or anything, right?
No, not really.
Yeah.
No, I have an Instagram. I don't really. I'll look at stuff, but I don't. I left Facebook around 2016.
That's fair. Yeah,
It got a little hot. I didn't enjoy changing my opinions of people that I knew for my entire life. So
it just simmered down a little bit though.
Yeah, but now it feels too silly to jump back in because it's like at this point, I don't know. I had some growing pains. There were not growing pains, I guess shrinking pains of like Facebook events and things like that. Like I did feel out of the loop for a while, but you kind of start to like eventually people just know you're not on social media, and I get a lot more text messages.
Yeah,
that was a thing that I think bothered me. One of the things was like an old friend from like high school. It had invited me to this thing, and I wasn't able to, or I didn't go. And then he was like, "Hey, you didn't come to the thing," and I was like, "I didn't know about it." He's like, "I sent you a Facebook message about it." I was like, "I knew you well before Facebook. Like you could text me about it." And so I think that was one of those things where I don't know, I curmudgeonly got frustrated and abandoned it, and so I haven't been using social media. I kind of anonymously browse Reddit. That's kind of my social media experience, pretty much.
Oh yeah, I've never been on Reddit. Somebody got me to download the app the other day, and then
It's
2 months later I
and
scrolled it, and I was like, I don't know.
sure.
And I saw some flamingos like doing a cool thing.
Sure, yeah, you'll see that.
That's great.
Why, yeah, of course. Yeah. It's good and bad. It's just like it's like everything on the internet. It has its benefits and it has its pitfalls. It is certainly not a perfect place, but
Are you putting music out? Like, because social media, I feel like is imperative for me just to put my stuff
for sure
out.
Yeah,
there.
and I think I guess the short answer is no. Right now, I'm not putting music out, and I'm kind of now having the realization that the times I was using it the heaviest are when the bands were at their peak in terms of being active, and then when the main band I was in forever kind of disbanded and stopped doing the social media thing, every group I followed after that, I wasn't the social media person, or I was every band I was in, I wasn't the social media person, so it was just another way to distance myself from it more. And so I didn't have to promote things personally, and so it is an excellent promotional tool. And I think if there's ever one day that I wanted to put music out there, solo music or anything like that, I would probably consider it, I think.
Like MySpace or...
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. Probably still have a MySpace. I think I've realized in the last, like, decade that I don't think solo music's something I'm probably ever gonna do. I've done it. I've made music by myself before. I've never been really... A, satisfied by the finished result, or B, been like felt like it was like a useful process. I think if there's something I've learned about the way that I play music is that I am a better role player and like a better utility person than I am a focus or anything. And that's where I'm at my happiest. And it's like when I love being in bands where it's kind of like, I'll play the middle part or I'll whatever basically isn't like, that's kind of why I started playing keyboards in bands, was because no one needs a guitar player. And so it became a thing of like, everyone needed a synth player because no one played, everyone just played guitar. And so it was like, all right, I'll just do that because it's what needs to happen. And then it became tremendously interesting.
And you were saying that your matriarch is like your go-to.
It has been ever since it came out. I think probably just because it's, well, I don't own any polysynths. I think I have a microKORG. I don't own any analog polysynths. And I know matriarch's not polyphonic, but like, it's the perfect blend of me. I can get real sucked into presets and screens.
Yeah.
I love that aspect of the matriarch of like, what you see is what you get. And like, that's why I love when I play with sub fatties or little fatties. I like the activate panel button and try and ignore the preset, because it's like, I like being able to look at the knobs and know what it's going to sound like.
Absolutely.
Which is really nice, because it feels like if you're in a pinch, you can kind of look at the panel and understand when you press a key what it's going to do. Whereas presets, it's like the knob configuration doesn't matter once you turn that, because it's just going to be whatever the stored sound is. And so I think that, combined with like the immediacy of the patch points and everything, and how well laid out it is in terms of like a lot of things are half normal that can be broken by patches, or things get vastly expanded with the patch bay and stuff like that. I just think it's a very aesthetically pleasing instrument that does everything sonically that I would want a synthesizer to do. Like, it's an amazing mono synth, and then it has 4 voice paraphonic capabilities, so it's really just the perfect synth for me.
It is nice.
Built-in delay too, stereo analog bucket brigade delay. It's a pretty nice feature.
The delay is nice.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, it's just it's
Sounds
two
great.
104s.
Is it? Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I can throw my 104 away then, right? Like, just sort of use it as a doorstop.
Yeah. Use it as a very nice doorstop. Yeah. I guess it doesn't have as much it's not quite as luxurious and nice as the 104s, but that's
lush.
Right.
Yes.
It doesn't have as many parts, making it sound just so sweet, but it is built on the same fundamental.
Well, I'd love to see some tips and tricks, or like what you got up your sleeve on that matriarch.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't, I'm not patching a whole lot when I use this stuff. Yeah. I know.
Even like the
judge away.
Oh, really?
Right.
I thought you liked synthesizers. I changed my leg crossing because of that. Even with like the subs and stuff, because I see the subharmonicon mother defam situations pretty well. Like,
I do get those going, but I'm really often just trying to use an LFO.
Oh, okay.
I want more LFOs over there.
Yeah. I often find that synths don't have enough LFOs or attenuators.
Yes.
If you're,
the
which
matriarch has 2.
Matriarch has 3 attenuators.
Oh, that's right.
2 of them are chained
LFOs,
together.
though.
Yeah, LFOs. Yeah, just the 2.
That's right.
I know.
Yeah.
And I guess you could theoretically push one down low enough into the LFO range. One of the 4 oscillators, you could make it an LFO.
Oh, yeah, probably.
But I find that the utility things like mult attenuators and LFOs, like, synths generally don't have enough of them.
Yeah.
Those are.
Yes, so I'm patching those LFOs or the clocks and and figuring that stuff out.
But it looks like your subharmonicon situation's pretty well.
Yeah, I'm trying to get some stuff going on. Anything to trigger like the rhythms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I appreciate that all of the tricks that you can do in synth menus are available in the matriarch, where it's like, it's very satisfying to chunk a cable into a jack and then into another jack, rather than like go through a menu tree and select, modify, like
could you give me an example of
you could make it so that you could patch it so that the mod wheel of the matriarch controls the amount of delay. Which, like, in a synth, which is like a common thing in any digital synth or any synth that has delay built into it, you go into a menu tree and there's 2 little drop downs, and you have your mod source and your mod destination, and you would put your mod source to mod wheel, and then you would put your destination to delay mix. Whereas on a matriarch, you take an 1/8" cable and you plug mod wheel directly into mix or into an attenuator, depending on how much if you want it to go full wet or less than full wet. It feels more satisfying, and I think there's an element of like, screens can just zap you out of that zone.
Mm-hmm.
And menu diving can take me out of like if I have an idea, it's really nice to go boom boom, it's there. I don't have to like scroll through and think, oh, and maybe an LFO would be a better source here, or you have an idea and you can make it tangible in seconds without having to like distract yourself with other options. When using menus, you have to kind of like dive through.
Yes.
And so maybe using a mod wheel to make delay amount is like a bad example, but it's a thing that you can do on the matriarch. That's like a nice utility that you would
example.
expect.
I thought your example was good.
Oh,
I just I really
sound off in the chat if you think my example is good.
yeah. Let's hear it. I don't have the chat window open.
I didn't know. I don't want.
You don't want people to talk to us.
Talk to us. Chat.
Okay. But definitely smash that subscribe button
and the like button.
And the like. Yeah. Are there 2 buttons still?
I don't know. I'm trying to
somewhere
find it.
over here. Not you Instagram.
Yeah.
Although follow.
Yeah.
Me, please.
Yeah, follow.
Please. Yeah, this is interesting. Just sort of like you choosing music tech, maybe through happenstance. I just got into synthesizers through happenstance.
From
I had
Moog?
I had a family friend, or Matt Dawson. Was my
I was hanging out with him last night.
Oh yeah, he's a great dude.
I forgot that you know Matt.
Yeah.
Because you know Neely, right?
I do. Neely is my god's sister. My godparents.
That's awesome.
daughter.
I saw her yesterday. They're doing great.
I saw her mom.
Met their dog
last
Ripley.
week ago.
Beautiful dog.
Oh, great.
Saw their daughter June. Lovely family.
I haven't seen them in a long time. I really
Great
need to
people.
reach out and say
Fantastic folks.
they are
Still fantastic.
Good people.
Yeah.
Strong character.
Big time.
So I had somebody saying like, oh, Matt Dawson, you know him, he works at Moog, you should just work at Moog. And I was like, I'm gonna be famous one day, I don't need to work at Moog. I was like 22 or whatever. But I did finally end up at Moog, just like, okay, it was time to get a full-time job.
Sure.
Did you end up at Moog like right after college?
I ended up at Moog in college. So I started as an intern. I worked unpaid for 3 or 4 months before I started doing pay stuff. And I got that internship because late down the road of my music tech experience at UNCA, they announced an electronic music composition class, which was taught by Steve Dunnington, who is the chief engineer.
Yes, I am listening. I am. Oh,
I can tell.
I'm paying such good attention to you.
Yeah. Go on, prattle on.
Please. Okay. I was curious about our time. I don't want to sacrifice our jam time.
Fair enough.
Usually this is just going the whole time to make sure that we look good.
We definitely look good.
We look great, I think. Yeah. Our colors really complement each other.
It is nice. Yeah. Maybe I should have
a little hot and cold. Oh, I really thought about it.
Yeah.
I unbuttoned and then buttoned back.
Yeah, it feels more tight and composed. I took electronic music composition. It was a class taught by Steve Dunnington, who is an amazing person. That is the chief engineer at Moog Music. He like designed the DFAM and Subharmonicon as like Moog Fest workshop ideas, and now they're like immensely successful. Like he just has these little tiny ideas that he spins aboard, and then they turn into massive tens of thousands of selling synths. He's a genius. I think he's a great guy.
It is crazy how popular those are, even though they're
remarkable.
Somewhat they're both limited and extremely like versatile at the same time.
Unique and extremely like they do one thing remarkably well, which I think is great. It's kind of like the problem with like the Cheesecake Factory menu of like you have pad thai and Italian food and like burgers and you do it all okay. I'd rather go to like a place that makes one sandwich and it's phenomenal. And so I kind of how I feel about those, where it's like, yeah, the DFAM's a percussion voice that's locked in this 8-step thing, and it's like, but that's what it's an incredibly unique percussion voice with built-in FM and pitch envelopes. Like that's atypical. In the Subharmonicon, the same kind of thing in terms of like polyrhythmic clock division's a weird concept to make the priority, like the primary feature of a synthesizer. But
weird tuning.
Weird tuning.
Won't be in tune with anything.
Just intonation. It's like it's really it's cool that I think that people are hungry for that kind of stuff now, because I think for a while it was like guitar pedals were like, get them as simple as possible because guitar players are dumb and they don't want too many knobs. Like, it felt like there was energy, and I mean in general, not like a Moog thing. I mean just like that's how people were designing things, was like the less the better. And then the Eurorack just blew that up, because now it's like everything's so complex and you have to have an extremely high level of understanding of synthesis to even understand how to use these things, which I think is great because it empowers the user, because it doesn't hold them back. It's just kind of like, you figure it out.
Yeah.
And I love limitations, creatively, especially in music, where it's kind of like deadlines and like lack of menus, I find to be more inducing to creativity, just because you're locked into what you have and you have to use what you have, and it's not limitless resources. Like sometimes synthesizers that have hundreds of modulation pathways, it feels like you have to use them all because they're all there.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, and then you get too lost in that, and then the original sound's gone, and then you get again you got out of the zone.
I feel that way down here sometimes. I got too much stuff to choose from.
Yeah.
But I get bogged down with like just basic technical issues.
Oh yeah,
you know,
which can also stop the
take
flow.
forever. Yeah.
Right. You like write a bass line you love, and then you're harmonizing it with chords that you think are really cool, and then you want to add this cool synth sequence, but then you can't get the MIDI to link up, so you spend 30 minutes troubleshooting it, and then you're like, I lost
Call
the
a guy,
vibe.
and that guy doesn't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy doesn't know who you are or why you're calling.
Yeah. It turns out it's the wrong
You call a
number.
stranger.
You call a stranger.
You go to your neighbor. They don't know anything.
You don't
about
give up on him though.
You
ask
don't.
them to help.
Yeah,
you
you'd be like,
Google
let's
it.
pull up the manual.
Yeah.
Help me.
What does this sound? Does this sound right to you? Invite him to get some food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cheesecake Factory, though, because it's just a stranger.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to bash Cheesecake Factory. Like,
I've never been to Cheesecake Factory, but you did bash it, so I thought it was sort of lower.
Well, it's more
lower
of like
ranking.
I didn't say that they were bad at it. It's just that they were fine at all of it, when they could
It was
just
sort
be
of in
really
your
good at one
tone.
thing.
You didn't
I
have
did.
to say
Yeah, I
it.
changed my manner of speaking when I mentioned Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, if you want to sponsor me, though, Cheesecake Factory, I'll keep defending you. Or, yeah, be nicer.
I could lay into this. Yeah, I could. If you want to like really cape for them, I'd be happy to. I'll go hard at Cheesecake Factory.
So, was that the... I'm tempted. I am tempted
I
to...
will bait you.
We both worked in a factory.
True.
We could get really effective. You know, we could sort of send it down the line.
We understand how assembly manufacturing
Producing an insult.
Yeah.
Quality check it.
Uh-huh.
So was that the end of your story about working at Moog? How it overlapped with college?
Oh, right. Yeah. Steve, so like basically I learned how to play synthesizers because of electronic music composition. That's how we got there. Because Steve it was 2 nights a week. First night was like, we're going to talk about VCOs and what oscillators are and what wave shapes are and what subtractive synthesis versus. And then the Wednesday class or the second class of the week would be like electronic music history. So we'd talk about like Ian Xenakis and all these like crazy old Steve Reich people that were making electronic music in the 50s and 60s. So it was like an educational component as well as a technical component of the electronic music. And then so he just was like, I'm engineer at Mo. And so I just asked him to intern and then got an internship. Probably because I was willing not to be paid for a while.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Which is like probably not something you should lead with when you're like, I'll do it for free.
Right, but then
you're excited.
I was told very recently that interns get paid usually too. So.
Right, and I think you should pay your interns, and I agree with paying your interns. I probably
do.
shouldn't have put my foot in the door with, I'll do it for free.
Right.
Because I think that set a
probably did
precedent.
I am looking for an intern for this show. If you're interested, let me know and I will pay you a small fee.
Nice.
To be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be generous, I'd say.
Yeah. To pay it all.
Yeah.
I mean, you're paying with rich experience,
That's true.
which is invaluable.
This basement,
Yeah.
they could spend time in this basement.
There's a patch bay in here.
They could listen to me say
Exactly.
I caught myself. There
They
we
could
go.
count you.
Have you said? I haven't heard you say like that much.
I don't know. I guessed that I probably say it a lot, just because and like are the things. I know those are the classic examples of like buying yourself time. I used it there.
Oh, like you did. You sure,
See,
you sure liked it.
See, it might be in there more than you realize.
Yeah.
It just happens so fluently.
For the next hour, do you want to go back and watch this hour?
That would be
and
great.
comment on it?
Yeah.
Over it?
Do
Like
a
that
commentary
one?
with Harris.
The one with Harris Wills.
You have to say that little, and I know exactly which episode of which podcast you're talking about.
The podcast was Analyze Fish, and...
or was it You Talking You Two to Me?
Oh, was it that? Was it that?
When they did a commentary special of the first episode, where they listened to the first episode and comment. I think it was You Talking You Two to Me.
I could have sworn it was Analyze
deep in the weeds.
Fish. Yeah.
Look here, that some comedian-based music comedy podcast.
Yes, and Scott Ackerman
Certainly.
was there.
And Harris Whittles, yeah.
And Harris Whittles, yeah.
But Adam Scott was there.
Adam
Which is
Scott
what leads me to
there.
believe it was
Oh,
You Talking You Two to Me, because he wasn't in Analyze.
could be.
Now,
But
see, this is
that was-
high level
It's true. That's good
podcast
stuff.
analysis.
Oh man, but that was so brilliant where you could hear the podcast
Yes.
and they're talking over it.
Yes.
It's cacophony.
Yes.
And
Which
they-
is like,
They also sort of hate it the whole time
yeah.
they're doing it.
and it's amazing that it's like you can tell that the joke is that they're doing it, and they still do the entire episode. It's like a 2.5 hour. Like,
Yeah.
it's like that. And it's, I guess it's that comedy arc of like, wow, this is really funny, and then it's like, this is not funny, and then it keeps going. You're like, okay, it's really funny again, and then
Yes.
it gets really grating, and then it gets extremely funny.
Thanks for being funny with me on this
Hey,
particular episode
I
of the
hope
live stream.
some of it was funny.
Some of them are very
Hopefully-
serious and earnest.
Oh, really? Should we have been more? Should I have been
I don't
more
know.
serious?
What were you expecting on your way?
I don't know, but now I feel like I
Okay,
should have
that's
been
good.
more serious.
Yeah, I was trying to give you like that look the whole time, like
I have a daughter now.
right.
I
Put
take things
childish
seriously.
things
Yeah.
away. But
Actually,
yeah.
I'm way sillier now with a daughter. 'Cause
Yeah.
What I mean, like, how do you think you make a baby laugh?
Right. Do you ever think about taking recording of your daughter's laughter and putting it through a bunch of
I have
craziness?
recorded a bunch of her sounds because of that kind of idea of like, it'd be really nice to like, when she turns 1 or something, you know, it'd be nice to like have a year's worth of sounds and then like make a little track, a little simple track, a fun track of her giggling and cooing and stuff, and then make a track each
Into
year.
Happy Birthday.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like,
be
yeah, I did. We could send it. We made an email for her,
Okay, that's cute.
so we could send it to her email. Actually, now I'm realizing this is a very cute idea. Is that it could be like over the course of a year, we could like record her sounds and then assemble it into a little track and then send it to her email account. And then when we gave her email account, which has never been signed up for anything, it's just like an empty account, but we just wanted her to have her name as an email address.
To get it before anybody else
Right.
did.
And so when she then opens that email, she would have one for every year of her life. You know, that would be like, here's your sounds arranged into a little song. That's kind of cute.
That is cute. Yeah. Yeah. Would you put some screaming in there too, or just the cute sounds?
I think just the cute sounds.
you could make it climax and
Yeah,
sort
but
of-
when the baby is
tense.
screaming, it's not easy to think, let me pull out my phone and record this child screaming.
You're a good dad.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that I have, for posterity, I remember what it sounds like when my child is screaming. Fortunately, she's a very chill baby. She doesn't. It's
That's good.
mostly I just have like laughter sounds and little coos and like her little you know, just like cute baby sounds, which she makes, and they're adorable.
I'm sure she's the cutest baby.
It's out of control. She plays the piano now. She like tall enough that she can stand herself up and grab the piano keys, which I'm impressed with, because I think she now knows that like, oh, these buttons make that sound that I hear sometimes Dad doing, and then she even knows to like lift her hand. Like, she doesn't just pull the key down and hold it. She'll like play it repeatedly, which is like, that's really cool. Or she'll like smash the strings on a guitar, and it's like, oh, I'm watching her understand that these are the things that she likes the sounds of, and that's how the sounds come out of them. It's like cause and effect. It's like watching it happen in real time. It's
Yeah. Too
mind-blowing.
bad it's an illusion.
Yeah.
You know?
Too bad it's fake.
It's all a simulation.
Yeah.
It's all a stimulation.
Oh, wow.
Have you thought about it like that before?
Never.
Keep it a secret
Okay.
from your daughter.
Yeah.
Are you giving her like Mozart and like the stuff that's supposedly like
Yeah, I
elevated in
try
that
to
way?
play everything. I've been playing a lot of music that I don't really even like, just so that she hears everything. So
Cardi
like,
B?
I like Cardi B.
Oh, okay.
But like, I'm not a big like, you know, alt country fan or anything like that, but I'll put it on so that she knows what it sounds like, you know, like, or I've been putting on like,
she gets to learn solid lessons. Like you got to know when to hold them.
exactly,
You
yeah.
know when to fold 'em.
Actually, I'd rather not her know when to fold them because I'd like her to be a poker player. No, she would know. Damn it, she would need to know how to fold them.
If you want her to
work.
be a good poker player, but if you want to play poker for family nights and
You
like rake it in, you don't want her to know
Okay, fair
when to
enough.
fold it. Yeah.
No, you know, I play a lot of experimental music for her. I just want her to know what it all sounds like, and I don't want her to be like underexposed to something so that she gets somewhere and hears it for the first time and is like, I don't like this. Because to me, I think saying that you think music is bad is silly. I think it's just not for you. You know, like I think belittling someone's creation is silly. So I just want her to know what all music sounds like, and so I guess no, she hears classical music as much as she hears, you know, whatever else, rock and experimental music and electronic music and ambient music.
That's good.
Yeah,
It's not just all Tool.
No, yeah, she gets a pretty wide variety, and she now she reacts when it's on. When it gets put on, she kind of like looks around and hears it and stuff. She hasn't like reacted to any certain song or anything, but it's adorable.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's very exciting to watch a child grow up.
You're in a reverie. Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I wish I had something more like, you know, turns out people have been having kids for thousands of years and there's nothing really new to say about how mind-blowing of an experience it is. You know, it's all cliches of...
Has it added to your life?
Tremendous.
Would you say?
Yeah, because, I think... I guess at first I took it genuinely. And I was like, yeah.
I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have giggled.
No, it's fine.
And how do you balance work and family?
Yeah.
To borrow one.
What are you pulling every year? What do you make? Yes, it has added. I think quitting my job to be a full-time dad has been awesome because I'm putting in way more hours and way more work, and I'm getting so much out of it. Not to say I wasn't getting anything out of work, but the reward that comes with watching your child grow up is indescribable. And so
yeah,
it's been a really cool thing to like pour so much time, heart, and effort into something and get so much back. And like watching her press a piano key multiple times and understand that that's what makes the piano, you know, it's like,
yeah, that light
it seems like a
bulb.
very simple thing, yeah, but it's like, it's an amazing thing that baby has observed that enough times that she's like, let me crawl over there and stand up on the bench, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, I love watching that light bulb go off with my students.
Oh, sure.
I think of all my students as babies.
Yeah.
You know, so it's similar.
It's a comforting. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's like if you're standing in front of a crowd, just think of everybody as babies.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but not your baby.
No, because then you'd be too attentive.
That's right.
Yeah. It needs to be
One of
other
them
people's
starts
babies so that
crying, you
dislike
couldn't get
them.
on your phone.
Yeah.
Which, when you're standing in front of a crowd, you definitely want to be able to get on your phone at any given moment.
Yeah. That's when I'm on my phone.
Right.
Yeah.
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 That's cute.
Mhm.
I have two. Was there anything musical that you wanted to talk about? Any hanging threads or anything?
I not really specifically. I guess it's like the bands that I've been in that have music that you can listen to. I haven't
Yeah,
been
let's
active
plug
for a
'em.
while, but I'd plug. Yeah, I was in a band called Hella Hugo for a long time. That was instrumental rock. There's several albums out on all the platforms, all the streaming things. And that's like instrumental, you know, people labeled it as math rock. People don't love their genres being labeled. It's instrumental rock music with guitar, synthesizer, bass, and drums. And that was a band I was in for a long time. And then I played in a band called Sea Whistle for a while that has some stuff out, and Ottawa. And I play in a video game music cover band, actually, with Matt Dawson and other Moog
cool.
people, Homer and Jared, called Cartridge Family,
Ah,
which we play all like NES and SNES, 8-bit, 16-bit, some 64 stuff, music on synthesizers. So it's like we each have one synth, and then there's a drum machine, and then we play music from Nintendo and Super Nintendo.
nice. That's fun. And that one's active?
Yeah, that one's active. Yeah, like we, you know, as active as things can be now, we had a show where we were going to put our big demo release out in March of 2020.
Yeah.
And then we haven't been playing because it's cover music, and now we're kind of, and then we had a baby, and so like now we're kind of starting to do it again. So we practiced last night, and we're gonna put a set together for some new things and play those shows. And that's
Exciting.
amazing.
Look out for the Cartridge Family's comeback.
The best. Yeah.
Nice.
So, that and then yeah, playing with a couple groups of people friends, common friends, like from Moog, trying to get some like an EP together with one group of friends, and then like maybe start a band with another group. So I've been playing a lot more lately. It's been really nice. I went through a lull in COVID where I didn't play for a long time. But
yeah, I know COVID disrupted everything.
Yeah, and it's like that's not anything new, and it's not anything that's people who are watching this didn't experience. But my personal experience was that it was like creativity instantly got squashed like overnight. I didn't touch an instrument for probably a year just because it was like, I don't know, just everything felt very, it was like, what's the point? I don't know, everything felt very kind of hopeless for a while. And that's really been coming back, which has been really nice.
That's cool. Yeah, I was working huge days before COVID hit, and then when it hit, it was like, oh, I'm just like, oh, it's time to let it all hang loose. Yeah.
Right.
And coming, just get, this live stream has been a way to like reconnect with people. Especially, I would love to brainstorm after this, like Moog people, get some more people over here. I've had more people on than one at a time, so maybe we can collaborate.
Oh, that's fun.
Multiple people going.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. But which is to say, I'd love to have you back sometime. Because we barely scratched the surface.
Yeah.
About identity. How is your identity wrapped up in music?
Oh man.
What are some problems and solutions that you faced with music? These are the sorts of questions that I'm working on.
I can now prepare to answer without having to answer them on the spot.
Yeah. Oh, you think so?
I think so.
Okay, we'll let it simmer. Let's see.
They're good questions.
Oh, yeah, because it is very much time to take a little break.
Oh, yeah, we went over, huh?
Yeah, yikes. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, should be.
Thanks for interviewing me.
Yeah. Hey, happy to do it.
Thanks for being here, Rosser Douglas. I am Sam Irvin. This is Irvin Music Studios' weekly Wednesday live stream called 8 Note. What do you think about that name? 8
I like
p.m.
it.
Note.
I get it. I think 8 asks for the TH for the 8th note.
So that's sort of like a flavor of longing.
And like it works better visually.
It does. That's why I need the sign here.
Yeah, you do need a neon sign. When you said neon sign, I was kind of like, that's nice.
And like a little tiny smoke machine that just puts smoke around the neon sign.
And doesn't distract from anything else.
Right.
You're really getting the YouTube podcast set down, I think. If you had your neon light.
I'm getting closer, yeah.
You need more tchotchkes. It's a good start.
That's true. I need another little shelf. A couple.
But yeah, but these are like baffles, right? These are like actual sound baffles.
Oh, they are. Yeah, these they're around the whole studio behind the drum set over there. My friend Justin Thompson, found them on Craigslist, and they're just like a free.
Yeah, they look
I had to go with my Honda CR-V and stack them like super tall, and
I bet they were heavy.
My whole car was like weighted down. Yeah. These are just like cubicle, like walls for like an office.
Nothing to do with sound, just.
No, these are sound absorbent because you want.
But not, I guess, just specifically designed for audio purposes, like.
Right,
but I guess you don't want your telecall to like blend over into the next cubicle, so.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Can't you hear how quiet
it is? Very like I don't want to clap because the mic,
Yeah, let's enjoy another moment of quiet. Right now. How does it? You okay? Okay, let's stop. I'm so sorry.
I didn't like that one either.
Okay, and speaking of stopping, we're going to stop this segment, and we will be right back with 8 Note, with a jam, with synthesizers, with guitar, with stuff. Okay, everybody, welcome back. This is your DJ host, Sam Irvin. Thanks for sticking around for the jam portion. I think more people tune in for the musical chat, and this part's just for us.
Good.
You know, yeah, exactly. We are going to play. It's going to be great. Roster's going to spend some time creating a very long pad with guitar and grandmother. Then hop over to the matriarch. I'm gonna start over with these semi-modular synths and then flex over to the drums. It's gonna be great. Thanks again, and there you go. That's what we're doing. soup enough, but
Yeah, well, yeah.
I want to make sure that I'm not losing you.
No.
It sucks that I don't have a great monitoring situation because I can't monitor really what's coming out of the nets. We're hearing just what's going into the interfaces.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not paying sensitive to the actual
Yeah, the delay.
It's probably going to be soupy.
It's soupy, which is fine.
Yeah.
As long as everything is audible. that was a fun jam. I think I can talk into these mics. Thank you, everybody. If you're still watching, oh, I guess I'm looking at you up there. Thank you, Roster Douglas. This is your camera over here with the ring light. Oh, other side of it.
You're welcome.
It was very fun. Thank you. Come on back next week, y'all. I'm sure I'll have another great musician on. Blanking on who that is, though. Thank you in advance to
I'm
them.
sure they're great.
I'm sure they're so good, yeah. Yep, thank you, everybody. Thank you to myself.
Yeah, thank you, Sam.
God,
Thanks for inviting me.
dude, thank you. It was so much fun.
It always takes me a while to warm